Dreamyoungmedia live. Like, comment, subscribe. Dreamyoungmedia live. Like, comment, subscribe.
I follow you on Instagram. And yeah, I follow you on Instagram, and I look at your website. I looked at your website, and I like what you're doing in regards to providing, resources for autism. So tell us a little bit about the organization. Tell us why you got into it, and and kind of start from there.
Well, tell us about yourself first.
So I'm the mother of three. My kids are they're a good time. They keep us busy. Two of them are autistic. And that's kind of the idea behind the whole website and what started it. When the boys were first diagnosed, the doctor gave us the rundown of all of the different therapies that we needed. And they kind of say, okay, here's your list of what you need, get started. And then they just send you on your way. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, that's cool. I'll get signed up. And we went home, and it ended up taking me about 3 days and 50 phone calls to track down the right providers in their area. And I just thought, does everybody go through this, or am I not getting it? Like, why is this so difficult to find therapy providers for children? Autism has been around forever. And I ended up doing a little bit of research, and I thought, there should really just be a database where you can go and say, okay, I need this therapy in this area, and they give you all of the results, kind of show insurances they work with, and that sort of thing, so I don't have to actually call every single location. And so there was nothing like that out there, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to invent it then, and hopefully help some other parents, because there's a lot of parents that end up having to wait months for therapy because it takes them so long to find it, and they get sidetracked and stuff. And so I thought, let's make this easier so that children can get access to the resources and help they need as quick as possible.
Tell us a little bit more about your sons and their ages and when they got diagnosed and things like that. A few more details.
You also have a daughter, right?
I have a daughter too. Yes.
You have a daughter as well. Okay.
And they're 4, 6, and almost 8. And we've been in the autism community now almost 4 years, because they were diagnosed at 2 and 4. We were fortunate that we were able to start services really quickly. Both boys had been in speech before the diagnosis. We already knew there was delays there, but we were able to get into some other services, and we've just seen so much progress. I know that the research says that early intervention is obviously key to progress and to them being able to later be mainstreamed in school. They have a better chance of being able to perform with typically developing students. And so that has been amazing for us. I will say, one of the really cool things I've learned along the way and with starting this website and doing research was, have you guys looked into the neurodiverse movement much?
Not much.
Okay, so this is huge. It's really cool. So the neurodiverse movement is, it's basically autistic adults. And they're coming out and saying, okay, so we have all these parents of newly diagnosed children, and they want advice and they need help, and come ask an autistic adult our opinion, because we can help guide you and show you, what would have helped us as a child. We can give you advice and say this, it's a bit amazing. I've been able to go online and say, okay, so when my child is experiencing a meltdown and I can't do anything to console them, can you explain to me what that feels like, what they're going through? How is the best way I can support them? So through talking to a lot of autistic adults, I've learned some really cool tools and techniques with how to help your children. And a lot of it is not focusing on a cure, but saying, let's just accept people for who they are. It's not a disease. It's not, so many people look at this terrible thing, and it's like, their brains are just wired a little different. They experience things different. They feel it different. They're going to express it different. Let's not be like, it's poor me, and this is so hard as a parent. Let's embrace it. These are our children. Right. They're amazing. And let's help them live happy, fulfilling lives, and let's spread the word so that other people in society aren't treating them that way, treating them less than, but let's push for acceptance rather than awareness.
Right. Because they're just like us. There's no there is a slight difference, but honestly, they can conquer that.
Yeah.
If given the correct training and therapy, etc.
Yeah.
So I do see here under your special programs, you have parent training. And so that's where you basically got this program from.
Well, so parent training's on the site right now. different types of organizations will offer, like when our boys were newly diagnosed, we lived in Phoenix area at the time, and there was a program called the Jump Start program. And it was a 6-week program, and it would walk parents through all the things you would need to learn how to navigate within the autism system. So like 1 week was how insurance works and what you need to ask for and getting the right services. 1 week was federal services and grant money and that sort of thing. 1 week was IEPs and how to navigate IEPs and what to ask for. And I think that it's just a whole new world that parents don't know about, and you're kind of just thrown in, and the doctors say, okay, your child is autistic, here's what you need, now go. And you don't know what any of this means, and all these acronyms and all these different therapies. And so you're just kind of researching, and businesses that work with autistic individuals are realizing like parents need help because they don't understand what any of this is.
Right.
And so they're creating programs where they're helping you navigate your child's diagnosis and getting the proper care that you need. And like working with insurances and working with schools and working with government programs. And so that's one of the things we wanted to make sure we had on the site, was that these places that offer those trainings, parents are able to find those, because that was such a game changer for us.
Yes.
We knew the right terminology. They would give you like the terminology to use when speaking with people, because there are certain phrases and words that in the government they can't overlook if you use them. And that's the thing, is so many parents realize that I'm not asking for something that my child isn't entitled to. They have a diagnosis. I pay taxes. I'm just asking for services that they're entitled to based on their diagnosis.
Wow.
And it can be hard to get those, and hard for parents to know what to look for.
And that's basically wordplay when you really think about it. It's like you have to know the correct terminology and verbiage. So you actually have to learn the verbiage so that you can use the correct terminology. So
that's right. Information overload is a issue that a lot of parents deal with, especially at first. And another thing that we discuss with a lot of parents who have children who are dealing with autism is a lot of them have had the vaccine early on. Do you have any opinions about vaccinations? Has that been something that you think is kind of tied to the challenges, or is your story a little different?
Vaccines are
I know.
We know it's touchy.
I know it's a touchy topic. I'm not trying to put you in a situation. I just think it's important that your opinion is heard.
We just hear it so much.
Yeah. So I just want to get if you're comfortable answering that.
It is a touchy subject. I've always been pretty straightforward. My background is my bachelor's degree is pre-med. I wanted to work in medicine. I believe in science, and I believe in what the data says. And that's what I go with at this point. I know they've said that while there's vaccine injury is a real thing that can happen to people. And people, I have allergies. I've had allergic reactions to different medication. That's something that can happen with vaccines as well. Right. But for the most part, when you look at any of the studies from what I've been able to read, that there are no links from vaccine and autism. And that's what I believe. I also, from a parent's standpoint, sometimes it's hard when people ask about vaccines and autism, because I look at my children and I think they're perfect the way they are. They're happy, healthy, fun-loving little boys. They interact and function in society just fine. I would almost find it offensive if someone said, I would rather not vaccinate my child and not risk them having autism than risk them having a deadly disease and dying. Because to me, I'm thinking, what's wrong with my child's fine and happy? And you look at it like death would be better than autism. And to me, that's offensive.
That's a good point. I have to be honest.
It's a very strong point.
Yeah.
Very, very strong point.
Very.
And that's why I asked you, because when you talk to 100 parents, you're going to get 100 different answers, because everybody feels a little bit differently about it. And now knowing that you have a medical background, that solidifies that answer even further.
I don't have a medical, I have a bachelor's degree. I don't have a medical background
pre-med, right? Well, you said pre-med, right? Oh,
so I definitely took a load of science classes and all of that, but that doesn't qualify me for anything. But just having had that college experience of taking science and being able to learn how to read data and that sort of thing. yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. It is a touchy subject, but
Right.
overall, I just look at it like my kids. I would rather risk them having autism 100 times than dying of a disease.
Right.
You know.
I agree.
That's great.
And basically, so how has I guess COVID-19 affected your other special programs, your camps and your preschool programs?
It's been really, really interesting. I have talked to, since COVID shut everything down back in March, I have talked to hundreds of different providers and therapists and business owners that deal with autism. And everybody has pretty much had to kind of pivot, like every other business had to at this point. And it has been amazing to see how quickly these businesses were able to adjust and correct to still be able to provide therapy for these children. Because I think so many parents, myself, I can speak from my experience of, we were like, oh, okay, so they just won't be in therapy for a week or two, no big deal, like we'll have a vacation and then they'll go back. And then after a couple of weeks, parents were realizing that this was going to last longer and starting to see regressions, and parents have to, like, I have to keep my children in therapy. This is an issue. And the clinics being able to switch to teletherapy, telemedicine options so quickly. About 90% of the clinics I spoke with were able to implement teletherapy and get it approved by insurance and ran by the parents and up and going within a week or two, which is, I think, truly impressive, so that so many children could still have access to the therapy that they needed during this time. So I was really impressed. And I think that it shows the amount of care that other business owners have in this industry and how much they truly care about the children and want to help them. And I think that's one of the coolest things about the autism field, is that most people that are in this are doing it either from a personal connection, a family connection of some sort, or because they just really, really want to help the children. And so it's really cool to see them kind of pull together and be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And now it seems like the country is going back into lockdown. So I've heard them talk about 2 more years. So that's going to be insane for a lot of parents to have to make that adjustment. I mean, it's short-term adjustments, totally fine, but those long-term adjustments, it can get a little challenging in with the longer that we stay like this. So how are things in your city right now as far as the lockdowns and things like that? Are things ramping back up, or are you in one of those cities where things aren't as bad?
I'm in a rural area in Missouri, so
we are too in Georgia.
We don't have a ton of cases, although we locked down with everybody else quickly. And so we didn't have like community spread here, or we had like virtually no cases. And so they started opening back up. And so we're just starting to kind of get our first wave. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we take it day by day. It looks like school here is going to open up, but we still have 1 more month, so anything could change. And your guess is as good as mine on that.
Sitting on pins and needles, I get it.
Right? Every day it's something new. And that's the other thing, is I talk to providers across the United States. And so it's interesting to hear different regions, because we'll ask them, like, are you guys open? Do you want us to advertise you locally so that parents can find you locally, or are you still just doing teletherapy? And so it's really interesting to hear, based on different regions, who's doing what. And it's kind of, we'll see. We're like everyone else, I guess, and just waiting to hear.
I did see the different types of therapy, and it's great. It's just so many. So I normally ask, like, what type of therapy works best? But there's so many on your website that I'm like, I guess it's catered towards like the type or where they are on the spectrum and what type of therapy is needed.
So, and I'm sure you've heard the saying about autism is, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. Everybody's different. Everybody has different strengths, different deficits. So really, when you have an autistic child, the care plan is catered directly towards them, because it's definitely not a one size fits all.
Absolutely.
Which is why our website, we really want it to be all encompassing of all of the options, because, what works for one child is not necessarily going to work for another. And so we want parents to have access to all of the info so that they can kind of make decisions based on what's best for their child. So it's hard to say. You can never give like a definitive answer on what is the best. Just kind of what works best for your child. I will say our website right now has, our first phase of rollouts was doctors, dentists, and pretty much any type of therapy a child could need. Our second phase that we're going to be rolling out in the next few months is going to have like preschool programs and summer camps and K through 12 schools. We're even going to feature businesses that work with autistic individuals or cater to them, sort of like barbershops, things like that. So really, when the website is completely finished, our goal is to have any type of resource that you could think of that would be autism related in one location, so that parents have that option, like no matter what they're looking for, to be able to find it there. Because you never know what your child needs, and the more options, the better, because then that means quality of care is getting better. So
absolutely,
that's a great tool. That's a great tool. So what I'm going to do, I'm definitely going to feature you guys on our website and put a link to your website and put your logo up there. I have a little section where, I guess a wall of fame or whatever the case is, and people that we deal with can actually utilize those tools that you guys offer on the website. So I think it's a great thing what you're doing. I truly think you guys are making an impact.
Yeah, we're very proud of you. I have to say just the Autism Assistant, I think is such a great tool because, like you said, parents. I remember when we were in the community and we were dealing with our patients and whatnot. There were no resources, absolutely none. And then no information for them. And parents, once they get the diagnosis, there's like a shock to their system that they have to actually get over. And then they don't know what to do from there. So I think this is a great resource.
Yeah, minimizes their stress.
Yeah,
Something like that is definitely minimize their stress. Yeah. So that's great.
Thank you so much for having me on. That's such a huge honor to be able to talk with you guys and talk about it. And I love what you're doing as well. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emily. I appreciate your time as well. And we'll edit this down and we'll kind of connect with you at some point in the near future and let you know when it's live.
Well, awesome. Just to and Emily, if you can go ahead and give us your your contact information and your handles, your different handles to the different platforms and your website.
Yeah, so the website is autismassistant.com. We're on Instagram at, and this is terrible, I have to look it up. I think it's just at Autism Assistant.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I think it is at Autism Assistant. I'll let you know because like I said, I follow you guys at Autism Assistant.
Wow, that's bad. I can't remember that. I don't even look at it anymore. I just go on and post stuff and don't even look at the thing. Yes, at Autism Assistant. We have a Facebook page, Autism Assistant. We have a blog on our site that tries to answer general questions for parents, about different types of therapy, and just what they are and why they're needed. So we hope that's a resource for parents if they have questions about different things like that. But yeah, that's basically where you'll find the info right now. And we have a contact page. If anybody ever has questions, they can contact us on the website and I'll always get back to them.
Very good.
Well, just once again, Emily, thank you so much for your time.
It was such a pleasure to meet you.
You and the family stay safe and I'll be in contact with you, okay?
All right, sounds good. You two guys have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So we just want to thank everybody out there for watching. Thank you for supporting Dream Young, the Dream Young Effect. And just go ahead and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video, share the video, jump on our social media platforms and support us there and follow us on those platforms. And we just thank you once again. And the t-shirts are available right now. So go ahead and get you one t-shirt on the website. Know Your Purpose and the Purpose Definition t-shirts. And we got some more options that are coming out very, very soon. And just once again, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
And don't forget to comment down below. Tell us what you think. Leave us a message or ask us a question. We'll be more than happy to get back to you. Thanks.
Thank you.